We're on the midst of a pretty boisterous week of weather. There are further Met Office yellow warnings in place. More on those in just a moment. But had some pretty lively gusts of wind through Monday night from this swirl of cloud out in the Atlantic. There are other areas of cloud that are approaching, all likely to bring bouts of wet and windy weather over the next few days. This one, as I said, brought some very lively gusts and some very heavy rain during Monday night and Tuesday morning, starting to pull away, but the rain is going to linger in Shetland for much of the rest of Tuesday. Brighter skies across central Scotland, eastern Scotland. Further south, well, you may get a sunny spell or two, but there's a whole raft of showers packing in as well, still being blown along by a fairly stiff wind, not as gusty as it was through the night, but still, as I said, pretty boisterous, lively weather going on. And although it's pretty mild, obviously it doesn't feel all that mild if you get caught out in a downpour or hit by a gust of wind. Temperatures 15 to 16 degrees in the south, 11 or 12 further north. The heavy showers with some hail, perhaps some bit of thunder mixed in, will keep going through this evening across parts of the south. After a largely dry afternoon, northern England, southern Scotland will see some fairly heavy showers, again zipping through because of the strength of the wind overnight, and actually most places becoming dry through the early hours. And the winds will ease off a touch as well, so that combination of lighter winds and clearer skies will allow it to turn a little colder than recent nights. Nothing unusual for this time of year, far from it, but well down into single figures, certainly in the countryside. So a fresher start to Wednesday, but generally a bright start with some sunshine. However, next weather system we saw earlier on the satellite image going to bring some more wet and windy weather. Initially for Northern Ireland, some very heavy rain here, and we had a lot of heavy rain recently, so that could cause some problems. Then this band of heavy rain, those bright colours there, the yellows and the reds, moving across southern Scotland and eventually into parts of western England and Wales. Much of eastern England will stay dry through most of daylight hours. A whole host of showers then come packing in behind this line of rain, which is, as you might imagine, a weather front. And if we just rewind the clock, you can see that weather front, or set of weather fronts, tied into an area of low pressure. And as this cold front in particular moves in, the isobars are already squeezing together, and that's where we're going to see some of the strongest winds, initially for Northern Ireland, then moving across Wales and into the afternoon over much of northern England. Gusts of 55, maybe as high as 65 miles an hour on exposed coast and hills, so that could cause a few issues. We have a Met Office yellow warning in place for that, but also that heavy rain, particularly because it has been quite wet across Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland. We have a Met Office yellow rain warning in place, so there is a potential for some disruption. Certainly some ferries could be affected by those gusty winds across Irish Sea coasts, but also potentially bringing the branches down, and that heavy rain, as I said, after recent downpours could cause some flooding. That line of rain then slowly moving into England and Wales, but ahead of it, much of eastern England will be dry, 15, 16 degrees, still pretty mild here. Obviously, again, elsewhere, not going to feel as mild with those strong and gusty winds and that heavy rain when it comes along. And it will move its way into eastern areas, that heavy rain. It's going to be a blustery evening right across the country with further heavy downpours again. A lot of spray, surface water on the roads. And that weather front may take its time to clear. It may have a little bit of a wriggle or a wave on it, as we call it, and that could hold that rain up across East Anglia in the southeast well into Thursday. Elsewhere, Thursday sees another low, a mixture of sunshine and showers, broadly speaking. But look at this, a bump in the isobars does promise a bit of a respite. On Friday, for most places, it's looking dry and bright before another low, and more weather fronts promise more wet weather to come across the country into the weekend. That's a few days away, so if you've got plans for the weekend, make sure you stay up to date with the forecasts. Check out those warnings by visiting our app or our website.